Alrighty, so the Cleveland Browns defeat the Houston Texans 7-10. And if you're a Nick Chubb fantasy person like I am, you were really hoping it would be 17-7. But of course, Nick Chubb at the end there decides to step out of bounds, which is the right move to make. It's the smart thing to do. But if you're a Chubb fantasy person like I was, you were get in. So, but he made the right decision. That's why I don't like fantasy football, because you're rooting for one player. And I mean, if it comes down and you got somebody starting against your favorite team, then you're like stuck in this place where you don't know what to root for. But nevertheless, so the Browns win, going to 6-3, I do believe. Is that correct? Yeah, we were 5-3, so 6-3 now. So Kevin Stefanski in 9 games has tied Freddie Kitchens' win record already. So the Browns are 6-3. 6-3 is a good spot right now. Not every game has been pretty, but nevertheless they are there. So this was just a weird game. It starts off delayed because the weather. I mean, you talk about 2 bad, unlucky weather games. You got the Raiders game where it's just every possible precipitation. You got snow, hail, sleet, 60, 50 mile an hour winds. And then that game, you lose a close one on a heartbreaking game at home there to the Raiders. And then you come on this week and you play the Texans. And it's like, guess what? Yeah, you remember that weather? Here you go. So very frustrating. I mean, it is Cleveland, Ohio. We're used to it, but it's just one of those things. You're like, man, can we not have like 30 mile an hour plus winds for one game? Like, it's so frustrating. So earlier on in that game, I would say the first 3 quarters really, especially the first half, was pretty much just running for both teams. I mean, you couldn't hardly pass the ball at all. And when you did, it had to be short stuff. You couldn't find guys deep. So it was kind of, every pass that was, especially with Deshaun Watson, he basically bought time. If you got open, try to get it in as close as you can. That's basically all the passing game was. And for the Browns, it was pretty similar. I mean, it was just short stuff, see it, throw it. And I see a lot of people, especially I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but, everybody does their own halftime thoughts video or tweets or whatever. And everybody was saying the same thing. Oh my gosh, Baker's been terrible today. This team just sucks. It's the end of the world. I was never really, normally I'm the one who gets super emotional about this kind of stuff. I'm always like really into it. And that doesn't mean I wasn't into it today, but at no point was I ever like, I think we're going to lose this game. It was just one of those things where it just felt like this is how the game would go. The Browns edge it out because of their run game. They make a few more plays. That's just kind of how it felt like it was going to be. And when I seen the weather report and then you see, the game get delayed, it's like, here we are with another, 90% of your plays are going to be runs. So, but up until the fourth quarter, you really couldn't pass with any rhythm, or you couldn't really plan anything in the passing game. I've seen a lot of people hating on Mayfield and hating on Stefanski, because of the lack of the pass game. It's like, I understand what you're saying, but it's also not something that you can snap your fingers and it happens. You take what you're given, and you do your best with it. And that's what the Browns did today. Were they perfect? No. Was Baker perfect? No. And I know a lot of people were talking about, oh, that ball's behind, that ball's high, whatever. Yeah, Baker wasn't perfect today. Neither was Deshaun Watson. Neither was Derek Carr last week. So, and I'm not trying to tell you Baker was fine, or he did a good job for that matter. I'm just saying, you'll turn on the TV tomorrow and it'll be the same story on ESPN, on FS1 that they've run every week of the season. How terrible Baker is, and he's horrible, and the Browns will be Super Bowl champions once they get rid of him. It'd be, like I said, it'd be different if you could point to Derek Carr last week and said, man, he's just throwing all over the field. What's Baker doing? No, he couldn't throw all over the field because the weather was terrible. You couldn't hardly pass. The Browns got beat by Josh Jacobs last week, or 2 weeks ago now. In this game, it's kind of the same thing. Deshaun Watson did a much better job than Derek Carr, and I do think that this game, the conditions were not as bad throughout the entire game. But it's not like Deshaun Watson was just dropping back, throwing dimes. Fourth quarter, that one play, Ronnie Harrison, had him pretty much on a sack, and, Watson just, there you go, perfect pass. That's just one of those things. I mean, Deshaun Watson is an athletic freak. He's a fantastic player. You can't really do much to stop those things. It's like in the wild card game last year with the Texans and the Bills. When he spun out of that and made a play, that's just Deshaun Watson. And Browns fans will immediately go, well, Baker's not doing that. Well, Baker's not Deshaun Watson. They're two different style of quarterbacks. So me saying this is not saying, hey, I'm very happy with how they played today. I'm thrilled with how Baker played. I'm thrilled with Kevin Stefanski. You got to take into account the conditions in which they played. And like I said, let me say it again. If one team did it at a high level and the other team didn't, that would be different. Both teams struggled as far as play calling, as far as, drawing up plays for the pass game. What the Texans really did best was Deshaun Watson extending plays, rushing for the short gains, whatever, getting the first downs, getting out on the run and then stepping up and finding somebody, getting him, finding a crease and getting it to him. So this game, a lot of people will, get behind a mic like this and talk for, 10, 15 minutes about, hey, this, it was terrible. Baker sucks. Plan on moving on. Kevin Stefanski's horrible. I don't think you can take stuff like that from a game like this and a condition like this. So, yeah, was it perfect? No, it wasn't. But you know what? Neither was the conditions in which they were forced to play in. And it was not perfect for either side. So, it is what it is. I thought that the 1-2 punch of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I think if we would have had Chubb, or at least this version of Chubb, healthy enough to play against the Raiders, I believe we win. I seriously, I believe we win. Not that either man is not good enough to be the number one back, because they both are. But you can't say enough about having a number one running back coming in, with fresh legs to fill in for either Hunt or Chubb. It's like when you keep that rotation, especially in the fourth quarter, and we've seen this a few times this year when both backs have been able to get on the field. I go back to Thursday night against the Bengals. What did the Browns do? Well, the Bengals could have easily came back and won that game. But the Browns said, here's some Chubb and Hunt over and over and over. There's Hunt, 10 yards. There's Chubb, 10 yards. There's Hunt. Then there's Chubb. This is what the Browns do. They have a formula in which how they would like to win, which is heavy run, play action. A lot of the short passing game stuff, not simple maybe, but it's very calculated, I guess you could say, where like you've seen today with Deshaun Watson, it was more of, well, hey, try to get open, we'll get you the ball. The Browns' approach is really pre-planned. Hey, be here. Ball will be there if you're open. So it's Chubb and Hunt. Once if the Browns have a lead in the fourth quarter, good luck, because if the Browns have the ability to do that two-back rotation for 10, 15 yards a chunk, and I'm not saying every time, but I'm saying, Kareem Hunt there at the end. Did I just cut out? I don't know. Cut out my headphones. I don't know. But I'm saying Chubb and Hunt, if they can keep chunking you, you can't stop that. And it's one thing if you have one guy and you're just wearing him out. But the fact that you have these two backs that just keep rotating, it's unstoppable. So that's one key thing I took away from the game. Myles Garrett, when he's on the field, he's phenomenal. I mean, some of the things he did, that one play where he bit really hard on the run and Watson took it around the outside, Myles Garrett chased Deshaun Watson down. If he didn't do that, Watson could have won another, 5-10 yards. So Myles Garrett is unbelievable. He was off the field for a period of time for whatever reason. I know they said something, ankle, I believe, but I think he'll be fine. I thought Donovan Peoples-Jones, in the return game, used his Michigan education there at the end. Could have gave up something bad there, but thank God he didn't. Got on that ball, and, Chubb and Hunt, there you go. And I think you're really starting to see him develop in the receiving game, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I've talked about him plenty of times on this channel about, what I think he can turn into. And the commentators today, I get it. Those two have been a pair for a long time. They talked about their story. But I think I think if you said, hey, can you call the game? I probably would have done just as good, if not a better job. And that's not me being cocky. I mean, just simple stuff. Talkie, messing his name up. Constantly saying the same thing. This drives on Baker. This drives on Watson. Well, yeah, they're the starting quarterback. I mean, so, it's frustrating. He messed up Ogunjobi's name. So my point with that was, with the announcers, they talked about Donovan Peoples-Jones, and they said, hey, Michigan fans are wondering, why didn't we get this guy? Well, a lot of the crazy catches, like that one catch where it was really behind him, I don't know if that was the wind or just a bad throw, and he came back like that and caught it. He made those catches all the time at Michigan. That's why I liked him so much, because he didn't make the ball is right here, you just got to catch it. He made you got to do something extra to go get that ball. So that's why, these announcers, I don't know. Maybe it's just an every fan thing where you're just irritated by that stuff. But to me, it just seemed like they were not good today. But it is what it is. Wrapping up, like I said, key things, Chubb and Hunt, dominant. Myles Garrett, dominant. I want to see what this formula looks like in a game where they can basically do what they want without the weather being a huge factor in it. And I know you can't control those things. You got to get good at dealing with the conditions you're in, especially playing in Cleveland. But my point is, when OBJ went out and, during the bye week or whatever, Kevin Stefanski said, hey, we're going to try to shape this up a little bit more for Baker. I really do think they're going to start passing the ball more. I think the formula is going to be maybe 60% running and then 40% passing, where before it was really like 70 to 80%, probably 75% rushing. And that's not saying, hey, we're taking the ball out of Chubb and Hunt's hands. That's saying, hey, we know what Baker is. We got an idea now. We know some of his strengths, some of his weaknesses. And clearly he's performing better without Beckham. As controversial as that is, it's the truth. So I think they're ready for him to take that next step. He's just not been able to because of the type of conditions they've had to play in. And like I said, the last game against the Raiders, if we would have had Chubb and we could have did that rotation, we probably would have won. The defense is what it is. You didn't make any trades. That's what your defense will be. So the Browns have a lot of issues, but I've seen a lot of overreactions so far. I don't think that you can take anything super crazy away from that game, either super positive or super negative. It is what it is. You can't control certain things, and that's where I'm at. So thanks for watching. By the way, got it. Can you see it? Got a new chair. Thank you, Black Friday. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with me? What did you take away from this game? And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.